Yo, call me the state of Mario, I'm gonna be in you like Wario. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Games Kids. Today, and only today, it's been a hot minute since I have done a Mario video, and I've just been kind of in the mood. I wanted to talk about the current state of Mario. So basically just go over every Mario sub-series, whether it's 3D, 2D, sports, everything. Talk about how they're doing, what's the potential. Mario Day is coming. The Switch has been out, Switch 2 has been out for a minute. The Switch's legacy, and just kind of touch on everything Mario. And of course, if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to your boy, support the content. Of course, let me know if you want more videos like this. So let's get right into this. Mario is technically still in the anniversary phase of celebrating the 40th anniversary of the series. You know, I think the reveal of it was a little, I don't want to say lackluster. I think they did a decent job. They're like, hey, Mario's 40th anniversary. You know, we're re-releasing Galaxy 1 and 2, which 1 isn't really an exciting re-release, but Galaxy 2 was the big one to finally have on Switch. I mean, we pretty much have every 3D Mario ever made besides 3D Land now on a Nintendo Switch in some way. So that's pretty cool. And honestly, I feel like I would love if they just full send it. You know, I'm not the biggest 3D Land guy, but I feel like if they just committed to just be like, you know what, let's just put this out just so that we can say, hey, every 3D Mario ever is playable on the Nintendo Switch. You know, and they did that for Galaxy 1 and 2. They announced Mario Tennis, right? They announced the Yoshi game, movie stuff. So overall, for the 40th anniversary, I feel like it's been pretty good, but I think they're lacking, you know, the big question mark that we all have. And the first thing I want to talk about today, which is 3D Mario. So we are now in the year 2026. Mario Odyssey came out in October of 2027. So we are damn near, guys, damn near a decade since the last mainline 3D Mario game released. This is kind of unprecedented. This is the longest gap between mainline 3D Marios forever. Now, I know a lot of people like to talk about, you know, Bowser's Fury counting. I, unfortunately, you know, I'm not one of those people. I don't really count it. You know, the same way I wouldn't count Shadow Gens as a mainline release. I would count it, you know, as like a 6-side dish, right? It's not the same thing, right? I wouldn't say like, all right, because we got Shadow Gens or we got Bowser's Fury, it justifies the length, right? There are different directors on those projects. There's different team members on that. Like, it is very clear within Nintendo that other people are working on the next 3D Mario. And there's people that say, hey, we just got Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's not the same, bro. I mean, you look at DK Bonanza's copy sold, and it's what, like 3 to 4 million, right? Those are not Mario numbers, you know, especially when you can see that like in the holiday season for DK, it only sold about like 400,000 more, whereas like a 3D Mario during the holiday would have sold like 1 to 2 to 3 million plus more than its initial launch date. So DK Bonanza's got legs, but I don't think it's got those perma legs that Mario does, and Nintendo knows that, right? That's why I always tell people when they say like, we have, you know, DK Bonanza, why would they need a 3D Mario? I'm like, I don't think you guys realize how much of a million copy seller 3D Mario is going to be when that comes out. Now, here's my thing, right? I think, and if anything, the latest Pokemon Presents kind of gave me that inclination. I feel like it has to be this holiday season. Now, obviously, you know, the Nintendo doesn't have to do shit, but that latest Pokemon Presents showed that Pokemon is not coming out this holiday season. It's coming out next holiday, well, we don't even know next holiday, just next year, right? And so that leaves a massive empty gap in holiday of 2026 for Nintendo. Nintendo usually has a big holiday game. Now, here's my thing, right? Let's do a little bit of math of what the possible game for the holidays. It's not going to be Smash, because Smash, you know, would have been announced by now if it was happening, right? I feel like, and it still feels like it's a ways away. Animal Crossing just got a major update, and even Pocopia's coming out, which is filling that Animal Crossing niche. So that's not going to be the holiday game. Now, you could argue Splatoon Raiders could be a holiday release because of how big Splatoon is, but I do think Splatoon Raiders is going to lean more on single player from what we know of the game, so I don't think that even constitutes in the same mega wave. Zelda is still in the back burner in terms of a mainline game, right? We could get a remake because it's the Zelda 40th anniversary, and we can talk about that another time. But it makes me just think, right? It's like, all right, we've had a long time. We didn't get a 3D Mario on launch. We got DK. It's been about a decade since Odyssey. It's been about 5 years even since Bowser's Fury, if you even want to use the Bowser's Fury argument. So yeah, I'm thinking it's time to get some motion going and get that 3D Mario announced and released for this holiday. I think that's going to be the big one for the Switch. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be the massive moment for the console, and we're going to see it by the next Direct. Now, I know some people are probably like, oh, they would have announced it by now. I don't think so. Nintendo's a very different company now. I mean, this is a company that literally announced a new entry in Mario Kart, which is their biggest franchise ever by far, 6 months before launch. So they can do the same thing with Mario. I wouldn't worry about that. So whenever they decide to do their next mainline Direct, whether it's March, April, May, June, I don't know anymore. I've stopped predicting, honestly, when Nintendo wants to do Direct. Nintendo does this thing every so often where they just decide to not go with the schedule they normally do, and they're like, we're just gonna do whatever we want. Which, like, I don't like that. You know, I know, like, these companies don't owe us anything, right? And it's like, for me, it just I like knowing, like, I don't know, I like having this thing that I look forward to. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, if you were used to your mom cooking you an incredible meal, right? Every 2 weeks, right? She has this incredible meal that takes a long time for her to cook, and you're used to her making it once every 2 to 3 weeks. But then she starts changing it up every once in a while. She's like, like, you know, I'm gonna make this side dish today, make this other thing. Yeah, I might make this other thing. You know, it's like, man, like, please, bro, like, come on, I want my food. You know what I mean? And again, I know it's selfish. I know they'll do it when they want to and they need to. But, you know, I'm hungry for it. I'm sure you guys all agree, right? It's like, it's a little annoying to sit here and think every day, is the Direct happening? Is the Direct happening? But we'll see about that when we get to that. But on the note of 3D Mario, right? What do I want from that next mainline game? I have a feeling that game has been worked on for a long time, right? I know there's a team of DK people, you know, DK Bonanza members that were from the Odyssey team, but I do think there was a second team. There's always a team working. I feel like for 3D Mario, there's always people working on 3D Mario. That's just how it is. You know, if you look at the Odyssey art book that came out, that is a massive art book. Like, there is so much art that goes into it, thoughts and ideas. Like, these games take time, and I have a feeling with, you know, the fact that Odyssey never got a major DLC, which is crazy because that game felt like it was built for it. Like, you know, you can just travel to different islands. And we know that game's not going to get a Switch 2 edition because I feel like it was one of those games that got a free patch when the Switch came out. But for the next 3D Mario, I'm thinking they're going to make something massive. I'm thinking they are probably going to do something akin to like an open world, right? But it's going to be like a platformer's dream. You know, I think it is going to be, you know, mushrooms to jump on everywhere, you know, always a path to platform, never just running on an empty field. It's always going to feel like something dynamic is happening. I think it's going to be like a magical video game. And I feel like they could even reintroduce the cape, you know, from Super Mario World, so you can fly into some sky areas, right? You know, go to some unique islands. But I don't think the trend of Nintendo games doing open worlds is going to stop. I think Mario is going to do their try at it, but it is going to be like a beautiful, you know, realized world. I hope so, at least. I hope if they do it, that it is a beautiful realized world. But I do know a lot of people want to go back to the traditional level by level type thing that they explored in 3D World or Galaxy 2. Now, they could do another Galaxy, right? Nintendo, you know, Miyamoto ages ago said that they would need the right hardware to do Galaxy 3. People have always speculated the idea of Super Mario Universe, right? Which is like, what if it was Galaxy? That's another cool idea. It's like, what if they did something like Galaxy, but like you genuinely had no loading screen, right? Like you could just, you know, warp start to another planet and you see Mario fly to it and boom, you land there, right? Or you could interconnect from one to the other. Like something like that that's incredibly ambitious would be amazing. Or like if genuinely the galaxies you went to were actually like planet sized and you had full exploration of those areas, that would be incredible. But obviously, you know, when it comes to 3D Mario, I feel like we always sit here and predict things and they come up with something we could have never thought of. Like I'll never forget, like when I saw Cappy, I was like, oh my god, this is a genius idea, right? And no one would have ever thought of something like a Mario Galaxy, right? Nintendo usually at the forefront of inventiveness in that case. And yeah, I think they're going to continue that creative outlook, but I am thinking it's this holiday season for 3D Mario. Next up, let's talk about 2D Mario, right? Now, 2D Mario is interesting because we're about to actually have the release of Bella Bell Park, which is like the HD, you know, Switch 2 edition of Mario Wonder. And, you know, Mario Wonder is a game I really love. You know, I'm very thankful for the existence of Mario Wonder finally bringing soul to Mario, you know, and I think, if anything, the new DLC is going to fix one of my problems with the game, which is the bosses. which it feels like, you know, adding the Koopalings is like a direct response to that, you know, and making them super weird and super fun. It feels like that should have been in the game day one, because it did feel like, yeah, fighting Bowser Jr. in a game that's also ultimately so creative did feel a little lacking, right? But yeah, us getting this DLC is going to be great. It does make me think, though, what's next? Because here's my thing. I love Mario Wonder. I think it is phenomenal. I think it's a beautiful art style. But, right, I don't want Mario Wonder to be the next new Super Mario Bros. Where we get like iterative sequels to it. I want the next 2D Mario to be another art style. I want it to be like it was back in the days, you know, of old, where it was Mario Bros. Had a look, Mario 2 had a look, Mario 3 had a look, Mario Land had a look. And I think Nintendo hopefully probably knows that, right? Like, it's, you know, if I saw the next Direct and they showed me a Mario Wonder sequel and it was just more levels with that art style, I would be a little disappointed, even though I love how Mario Wonder looks. But I love Mario Wonder how it looks and animates, because that was what it was. So if the next game has a completely different art style, I would love that. I want Nintendo to go back with that with 2D Mario. Now, there is option 2 for 2D Mario. Mario Maker, right? We have not had a sequel to Mario Maker 2 since, wait, when the Mario Maker 2 came out? That was like around 2018, right? That was like around 2018, like about 5-6 years ago. They did support it for about a year, I want to say, with content, whether it was, you know, the Link update, whether it was, you know, adding the Super Mario World map style thing that you could add to the open world. They did some cool updates and changes to the game, right? But, you know, there was obviously that mysterious other styles that people really wanted so badly. So with Mario Maker 2, I can see two routes. I can see them, one, do a Switch 2 edition, which I have a feeling they won't, because I don't know. So far, the Switch 2 editions that have added content to the games are games that are like a few years old, right? Where it's like, okay, this is still fairly recent. People haven't bought it, so we can extract some extra juice out of this. So I don't see them doing it for like 5-6-year-old games. You know, obviously Breath of the Wild and Zelda was different, because like those are just graphics updates. There's no actual substantial content to that game unless you really like Zelda's notes, you know what I mean? But I do feel like Mario Maker feels like a easy sequel. You know, you just add more stuff to the game, you add the Mario Wonder style, you add Super Mario Land as an art style, you give the game mouse controls to help people make levels easier. Like, it just feels like the ideas introduce themselves, right? And obviously with Mario Maker, I still think the game has a problem with curating levels. I still think that's like a major issue. The online, remember, it was, you know, abysmal in Super Mario Maker, you know, in the last one. So that was always an issue. But yeah, I think Mario Maker is just an easy release for Nintendo. Just make more playable characters, do stuff. Like, I saw this incredible trailer on Twitter the other day where like it showed Mario Maker 3 and it was like you can mix the match the art styles, right? Where you could have like Mario World sprite in the new Super Mario Bros. World with like, you know, wigglers that look like they're from Mario 1. Like, that would be awesome if you had like a mishmash of styles you could do. That something like that could be really creative, like up the game of how creative when weird and wild people can be. And now you know that the world aspect can be implemented into the game. That would be really cool. Even, you know, they should even up the scale of it, where like maybe you can make it so that if you found a key to a secret level, if someone makes a world map, they can access that secret level. Like, secret exits and stuff could be a big game changer for the game to genuinely let people make their dream 2D Mario game. Now let's talk about the RPGs for Mario. Now, RPGs are kind of in like a funny state. Like, if you think about it, on the Switch, that was probably the biggest era for Mario RPGs ever. You know, you had two games that were new into the genre. So like you had the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and then Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which is like a tactical RPG, right? We had Mario and Luigi, the franchise, come back after dying on the 3DS. You know, we had two Paper Mario games. You know, we had Origami King, which, you know, obviously you could argue if they're RPGs or not with the modern Paper Marios. And we had the remake of the Thousand Year Door. We had Super Mario RPG. We had Mario and Luigi, what's it called, Superstar Saga, released on NSO. Like, it really was a great console for Mario RPG, and it felt like, especially in that 2024-2023 era, that Nintendo just went all in. I mean, Mario RPG, Thousand Year Door remake, and Brothership all came out within 1 year of each other. It almost felt like it was like an initiative at Nintendo, right? To see like, all right, what can we do with this? You know, I mean, what can we do with the RPGs? Let's see which one does better. Let's see what we could do with the future of it. Now, if we went through all three of them, right, Mario RPG probably not coming back, right? You know, that was a partnership with Square Enix, and I feel like with how Square Enix is nowadays, I don't think they would do it, you know what I mean? Or at least do it anytime soon, right? Especially because like Mario RPG, if you think about it, the bones of what Mario RPG was anyways went into Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi. Like, I don't know, like I feel like a sequel to Mario RPG would kind of feel reductive, besides the fact that maybe like Square would be making it, right? Because like, if you think about the mechanics of, you know, tapping A at the right time, that's in Mario and Luigi, right? If you think of the party system, that's in Paper Mario, right? I feel like they just fed those ideas into their new sub-series. So I feel like Mario RPG was just, you know, to preserve that game and have that for the fans. I'm happy about that. But then, you know, you get to the question of Mario and Luigi versus Paper Mario. Now, let's talk about Paper Mario, because Paper Mario I love so much, one of my favorite Mario sub-series. I hope they learned their lesson. That's all I will say. Now, Origami King, funny enough, actually, sadly, sold more than the 1,000-Year Door. Now, I do think Origami did have a very big COVID buff, right? I feel like everybody was stuck at home. New game comes out, people just buying it out the ass. If you saw the initial sales, they were massive, but then the drop-off is pretty quick with the game, you know? So I don't think it sold incredibly well because like it's just ever long-lasting game people really love. I think it really was because, you know, people were stuck at home. New game came out and it sold out. And it's also like, to be fair, it's a fun video game, right? Because 1,000-Year Door remake came out and I think it sold about 2 million, which is like a little less than Origami King. But I do think the reception, the reviews, the happiness that fans had with the 1,000-Year Door really did shine with a lot of people. And I do think the studio, understands, all right, people really do want this series to be an RPG again. And so I'm hoping that this next Paper Mario game is the comedy and, you know, really beautiful music and art style and look of something like an Origami King, but it has the characters, the charm, and the actual RPG mechanics of the 1,000-Year Door and make something just beautiful. I feel like we are this close to having Paper Mario truly feel back, because like I said, I like Origami King's comedy. You know, I like the camera angles that they go with. I like the areas that they go to, right? But it's like, yeah, it's missing that lack of, again, still having unique, different looking characters in the world, right? But they've got, you know, scenarios down and stuff. But yeah, I want it to be a mishmash of stuff from the 1,000-Year Door with something like an Origami King. Make something incredible. I know you guys have it in you. And then there's Mario and Luigi Brothership, which, funny enough, I actually played through it recently, and man, that game was rough. You know, it's a fun game. It's a good game. I like the battle mechanics, right? But it felt like it went on for 15 hours longer than it needed to. Unironically, like I feel like you end up just doing the same thing a lot over and over in that game, and it doesn't have the most engaging story. It looks a little cheap, you know. There's some moments where the art style is cool, but it feels very cheap at a lot of points. And so I still do want to give that team, and you know, I hope that team gets another shot. I always feel bad when like a franchise comes back or a new dev works on it and they like make it and it's just good when the series used to be much better, because I worry. I'm like, I hope you guys aren't just booted off for just making a good game instead of just, all right, let's let these guys learn it. You know, these guys, you know, we gave it to them, they tried, let them continue to evolve it, right? Instead of just vaulting it again, because it did sell pretty well, about 2 million copies. And so, yeah, I would love to see that dev team on Switch 2 make the game run incredibly well, make some, you know, faster combat mechanics, make more engaging characters, because I did feel like the little electric people just kind of felt generic in their own way, right? And the villains were kind of generic. You know, it had a great finale, and again, some cool moments and cool special moves, but overall, yeah, I do want Mario and Luigi to continue, but I do want it to be refined. I want the story to be crazier. I want the pacing to be much better. And I want like some cool gimmicks and mechanics, right? Because it did feel like a lot of them were still from previous games. But again, I'm happy that Mario and Luigi came back. But also, if you ask me, what do I want? Do I want Paper Mario to come back? Mario and Luigi? I feel like I want Paper Mario to be back sooner. And granted, Paper Mario has happened every 4 years. So we're still a bit off from when we potentially will get the next Paper Mario. We're probably like a year or two away. And they did, I remember in the 1,000-Year Door, I remember in the code of the game, people did find 4K textures and stuff like that. So that game is still due for a potential Switch 2 unlock, right? Of like, hey, maybe a Switch 2 edition of that game with Luigi's stories. I would buy that in an instant. That would be awesome. But I do also think the Mario and Rabbids series, the sub-series, is probably dead. That studio, I think, shut down because I think Sparks of Hope did not sell nearly as well as the first game. And I think, you know, a lot of the team members are just doing their own thing, and Ubisoft is all messed up. So, yeah, I think the Mario plus Arts Kingdom Battle team are going to probably not do that again. And maybe we'll see another tactical franchise from Mario show up one day. Now, on the party era of Mario and Nintendo, we just had the re-release of Mario Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. I've said this before. I mean, I don't think I made a video on it, but Jamboree TV is awful. It really is just not good at all. Yeah, I think it is genuinely the only Switch 2 edition that I would fully say is like a waste of money, right? It's like a waste of money. It's its own sub menu. It's these sub games that you're gonna play once. It has the weird camera gimmick. Like, no, I would have just much rather if they added more boards to the game, more characters, like stuff that, you know, people actually want in Mario Party. I'm happy that they finally added a 2v2 mode to the game. That's nice. I would have liked if they added like a double speed to the game, because as the game is, like, the movement is incredibly slow and turns take forever. But alas, Mario Party Jamboree, at least on a basis, is Mario Party back to its core. It's new boards, you know, we're back to solo play. No weird gimmick where, you know, it's like small boards like Super Mario Party. And yeah, I wonder if the next game is going to be a Superstars 2, where it's more, you know, old maps celebrated, or if we're just going to go sequel route. I kind of think they should just make a sequel, right? Because they actually experimented with it. In Jamboree, there are 2 boards from old Mario Party. I believe there's a board from Mario Party 1 in there, and then there's the cowboy board from Mario Party 3. So I feel like there'd be no point in doing a Superstars 2 if, like, the new thing they're doing with Mario Party is new boards and then have some classic boards. I still don't understand why they don't do DLC for Mario Party, but they do consistently release them every 3 years. So if we are getting a Mario Party, it's not going to be this year, it's going to be next year, probably going to be announced next year and come out in the fall, and I'll be excited to see when they get that. Now let's talk about the biggest, I would say most controversial part of Nintendo and the Mario sub-series, the sports games, right? The sports games are in an incredibly weird place, right? So we just got the release of Mario Tennis Fever, and I've had a great time with it. I think the gameplay is super good. I think, you know, it is as content filled as it can be, right? You know, big launch roster, 40 almost characters, and, you know, the side content, you could argue, has its issues, right? You know, obviously with the campaign, a lot of people saying it's kind of mid, but it seems like everybody loves the core gameplay. But I will say, I thought I was going to be way more addicted to it than I am. I'm not really that hooked into it. I like playing it. It's super fun, but it felt like when Mario Tennis Aces came out, it was like, holy shit, wow, I'm playing like competitive tennis. I really have to lock and I have to learn the game, I have to play it. And this game is the same thing too, right? But I don't know, I don't feel as incentivized to play it. And I just think it's because we're just kind of seeing like Mario Tennis is just like way too constant on the rotation. You know, like we had the 3DS one, we had the Wii U one, right? We had the Switch one, and now we have a Switch 2 one. It's like, I like Mario Tennis, and again, I think Mario Tennis Fever is a good game, right? But like seeing just tennis constantly is just, I don't know. I'm like, do I need this like all the time like this? And it's like same thing with Mario Golf, right? Like we had Mario Golf Super Edge. Are we just gonna, like, I pray we don't get another Mario Golf, right? I know Mario Golf is fun, but it's like, are we just gonna repeat the Switch thing, right? And I think Mario Tennis Fever is not even selling as well as Nintendo expected so far. And I don't blame people, because like I feel like Mario Tennis, if you have Mario Tennis Aces, right, and you're low on budget, I don't think Tennis Fever is like, this is a must get Switch 2 game. Like, you need this, right? This is a game that, like, if you got disposable income and you really liked Mario Tennis Aces, go for it. You know, but I don't think it's a must buy right now, right? I feel like they just lack that. And yeah, I think with the Mario Sports, they're in a weird position, right? We had Strikers Battle League, which was a disaster. I think everybody kind of agrees that was a disaster. No characters at launch, zero content, like no, attempt at any kind of content or unlockables or anything. Slower gameplay, weird arenas. Like, that game was a disaster through and through. I hope it's not the death of Mario Strikers, because I think Mario Strikers is a series that is really near and dear to my heart, right? You could play the GameCube one right now on like Nintendo Switch Online. That one is still so incredibly fun to play. It feels fast-paced. It feels chaotic. It feels like you don't have to learn too many moves. And you know, while Mario Strikers Battle League had incredible animations, that's probably like my favorite part about the game, is seeing like the specials and ultimates. The game feels definitely a bit slower. And again, there's like nothing to do or to work for. Like, the fact that in that game I just can't rank up is crazy. Like, that's a game that felt like, man, I would have loved actual tournament modes, rank ups, being able to do 4v4 online. Like, stuff like that would have been so crazy and chaotic, but it just felt like they just wanted to put it out But I do like, that's a game for me where I think a sequel is more warranted than a sequel to Mario Tennis, because I'm like, they should fix this. You know, they should make Mario Strikers like raw and cool and over the top again, you know, and continue to build on it and have a crazy roster, right? Just go insane with it. I would love to see that. But also, Mario Baseball, right? Mario Baseball has been missing since the Wii, which is shocking considering like baseball is massive in Japan, right? In MLB, the show still sells a lot. Like, I feel like a Mario Baseball game would still go hard today with like some cool character supers. You would have a massive roster by default because of how many players are on the field. Like, Mario Baseball just feels like it just makes sense. I'm like, yo, give me one of these, bro. I want this, right? This is your time, bro, right? So Mario Baseball would make a lot of sense. But I also like, I don't know, man. I wish that it would get a little bit more creative, especially because we don't have the Olympic Games anymore. We lack a lot of those weird, quirky sports and mini games, you know, Mario would venture in. I'd like to see just Nintendo experiment more. Maybe, you know, I'd love to see something like a Mario Hoops come back. Like, dude, basketball is one of the biggest sports, one of the funnest and coolest sports in the world. And so the fact that we don't have a new Mario basketball is crazy. And I know Square Enix worked on Mario Hoops 3-on-3. I don't think you need Square Enix to make a basketball game. I feel like you could make a banger basketball game internally with the Mario game, with everybody having cool like jerseys, right? Toss the ball to each other, doing cool specials and dunks and everything. Like, I think it would go so hard if we got a new Mario basketball game. Like, that's my dream. For me, like, that is the Switch era dream sports game I want. Is like, I want a new basketball game. They did it on Mario's Sports Mix. They did it in Mario Hoops 3-on-3. I know they got it in them, and I know a lot of people would buy that. I mean, if they deadass made a like banger basketball game, I feel like so many people would buy it. I truly believe that would probably be the best-selling Mario sports game if they lock the fuck in with it. But of course, let me know in the comment section below if there's other sports you would like to see represented and come back in a grandiose way. Now let's talk about Mario Kart, right? Mario Kart is a big one. Now, I actually had a big video I talked about with Rogers Base about all the potential DLC. So if you guys want to go check it out, you can do that. So we're not going to spend too much time on it. But yeah, Mario Kart World is a game I've talked about a lot on this channel. I play it a lot. Incredibly fun game. I love playing this game. I love playing this game with friends. I just need Nintendo to, you know, lock in and give me like, here's my thing with Nintendo. I'm not even asking for DLC yet, right? It's like, okay, you want to take your time with that, go ahead. I'm just asking for more incentives to play the game, right? Add more knockout tour rallies. I mean, there's so many routes and places you don't go on in knockout tours, right? Do that, right? Add more characters. That's just free content you could add in the game, right? Add, like, you know, festivals and events, you know, just how like Crossroads does it, or how Kirby has events. Like, just do things that make people go like, oh shit, I should play this weekend. You know, like that. Use your content that's in the game for the game. Like, that's the primary thing I want first and foremost. And obviously stuff like 200cc. I think we will get DLC though, whether it's on Mario Day or announced in the next direct. I am like 1,000,000% confident it's time for a DLC, but the fact that they've gone this long without any DLC for the game is still kind of crazy. Of course, we have the Mario movie coming up very soon. That's going to be in about a month. I think we've got one more trailer in it. And so far, I will say the Mario movie, like, the hype train for it feels different, right? I think we kind of all agreed that, like, it's been a weird marketing cycle. It's called the Galaxy movie, and a lot of the trailers have, you know, put a lot of people in question marks because, like, all right, we're seeing Toast Arena stuff, we're seeing Piantas in posters, right? We're seeing like still the Mushroom Kingdom. We keep seeing only one place where Rosalina is, right? So I am I am hopeful that they are hiding a lot. Right? My hope is that they are really keeping things hidden and locked up, you know what I mean? And that there's a lot more, you know, we got Bowser Jr. coming up who looks incredible. But yeah, I hope there's a lot more to the movie than they are showing. I feel like they're being safe. I'm sure we're gonna have the one more big trailer that shows some big moments and big characters that we don't know about yet. But I'm still excited for the movie, man. I've told people this before. I've argued about this with people before. For me, Mario movie is going to be fun. Like seeing an animated, beautifully realized world of the Mushroom Kingdom is just like visually so pleasing to me that even if the story is just kind of aight, as long as they do cool set pieces, it looks beautiful, it's well animated, it's fun, I'm gonna have a good time. You know what I mean? I feel like fleshing out that world in such a cartoony way makes like the story so much more like, you know, it's fine, right? But it's so much more back burner to me than something, you know, because like I feel like with Sonic went the live action route, and I feel like because they did that, the story matters a lot more, and Sonic has always mattered a lot more story wise, right? Whereas with Mario, stories never matter, at least for core Mario. So it's really more important that they get down the big story beats, get down the big moments, take us to different galaxies. Again, I do hope the pacing is better though. And last but not least, there is the Mario Extended Universe IPs, right? So you have like your stuff like your Wario, your DKs, your Yoshi, Princess Peach, Showtimes, and all that. Let's start with Yoshi, right? We had Yoshi's Crafted World and Woolly World were sort of like the weird, colorful gimmick Yoshi games for a while. And people really like those, but you know, this next one that's coming out is going to be Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. I think we kind of all agree. I still don't really know what this game is. It feels like it's more puzzle platformy, right? Where like you're going around, you're finding these things, and these things help you solve puzzles around, but it's got a beautiful art style. Like I love like the low FPS kind of look that they're going with Yoshi's movements. I'm sure the game's gonna be like 60 and smooth, but you know, just the look of Yoshi is fantastic, right? And I think the game's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be fun, but already when I see it, I'm like, this doesn't look like, and then look, here's my opinion, and I think everybody kind of agrees. I think Yoshi has never and can never, unless they just remake that game or go back to that the original Yoshi's Island. I feel like Yoshi's Island is like the holy grail, and I feel like they cannot figure out how to do that again, right? You know, bro, put a baby on that Yoshi's back, make it a traditional platformer, and just make it incredibly fun. Now, granted, the original Yoshi's Island had a lot of puzzles, right? It wasn't just like straight A to B in a lot of levels. You would have to go from one room to another, explore a little bit, you know, pop some stuff up so you can do stuff. But yeah, I think that's regardless, I do think this game is going to be cute. It's going to be fun. I do need to see a bit more to know like what's the full extent of the game. But you know, it said it's going to be just this year. So I'm guessing this comes off like a summer release. I feel like this is going to be like a May, June kind of game. I don't see this coming out in the fall or anything. We have Wario. I really do hope Wario does not go the WarioWare route. I am kind of, and I think a lot of you agree, I'm kind of WarioWared out. We got 2 WarioWare games on the Switch, and I feel like they just kind of came and went. And I'm worried that they're going to do a third one just so they could do, you know, mouse con gimmicks and stuff. Again, I like me some WarioWare, but they're just, I don't know, they're just kind of like, they're so whatever nowadays. You know what I mean? I would much prefer, and I'm sure a lot of you agree, bring me back Wario Land, right? Give me some Wario platforming. It's time, bro. You even released Wario World on NSO, the GameCube one, right? But it's like, give me Wario Land, man. Give me Wario as a platformer, dude. Like, his platforming is so fun and different. Now, granted, you could argue a bit of that DNA is in DK Bonanza with, like, the breaking walls and stuff, but just give me Wario 2D traditional platformer, you know, with that old school sort of, like, you know, over-the-top nature of it. Have maybe the Pizza Tower devs work on it. That would be something incredibly cool to see everything go full circle there. But yeah, like, give me Wario as a platformer again. Now, there was Princess Peach Showtime, which came out a few years ago, and that was the most okay game ever. Like, I played it and I was like, all right, that's a game, right? That's a video game I can play, you know, and it's cute, it's charming. Maybe a Switch 2 benefit would be like, you know, 60 FPS, give it some new areas, maybe give it some Daisy content or something. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, for the most part, I think when it comes to, you know, a Peach platformer, I would like them to go like, you know, a little bit more traditional, or, you know, have Daisy in the fold. But for the most part, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get more of stuff like, you know, Princess Peach Showtime, at least in the very near future. But I'd love to know what you guys would want from other Mario universe characters. Now, I feel like I should talk about DK, but I feel like DK is its own like full sub-series. They could go anywhere with DK. I mean, they could just do more DLC for Bonanza. They could bring back, you know, a new 2D DK if they wanted to. You know, they could remake some old games and go for another spin-off. Like, I feel like DK is going to be in the back burner for a bit, though. A big game that I've not talked about yet that I feel like is extremely likely to come out this year is Luigi's Mansion 4. Luigi's Mansion 3 had no right selling as well as it did. Luigi's Mansion 3 is at like 13, 14 million copies. It is ridiculous how well Luigi's Mansion 3 sold. I feel like Luigi's Mansion is just a major IP. Everybody in the world knows it. They associate Luigi with it. You say the name, people know it. And it has been like, what, 6 years since it came out? I feel like it's time, right? And if you count Next Level Games, it's been a few years since Strikers Battle League came out. So that feels like that's the next game on their menu. And I would love if for Luigi's Mansion 4, they went all in on the Castlevania aesthetic that they had in the Smash Bros. Trailer. Like, have Luigi go through one major castle, right, where it is like these genuinely scary ghosts, right? Then you genuinely had to lock in. You could access other areas with new moves, like stuff like that. Bring back that original sort of Metroidvania style of the original Luigi's Mansion with the incredible animations of Luigi's Mansion 3. Have unique ghosts in there, have stuff that's scary, over the top, super cool. I think a Luigi's Mansion 4 could be fantastic, and I genuinely think that has a high chance of coming out this holiday season. Again, it's been enough time. It's a franchise you don't need a lot of wait time, you know, from announcement to release. I think it's time, man. I think Luigi's Mansion is coming. But yeah, overall, right, if I'm thinking about, you know, all the things we've talked about, all the things to look forward to, I think Mario is in a very good position right now. I think Mario's always in a good position. I think the starving nature of a 3D Mario is a little bit concerning, but at least with 2D Mario, we have art style and soul back. With, you know, the RPG games, we know the series are alive. It's a matter of when we're going to see them. Sports games are still in the concerning route. I would like a little bit more, you know, faith in those games, but at least with Mario Tennis, we know that they're filling them with content. Mario Kart, very weird. Lack of DLC is still a lot of issues with that game, right? The spin-off franchises I feel like are okay. I feel like overall we're in a great place. There is some little stuff like, you know, they could bring back Dr. Mario or Mario versus Donkey Kong because they remade the Game Boy Advance one. There's even stuff like Captain Toad. I would love to see, you know, more characters get like their shine. Like, again, Daisy, Waluigi would be great to see like them in the spotlight for a little bit. Even Bowser Jr. because of the spotlight he got. I would love a Bowser and Bowser Jr. game. I feel like those characters are so popular that a game starring them would still sell incredibly well. But yeah, I think we're in a good place with Mario. I would like things to be a little bit more exciting overall, but there's a lot to look forward to. You know, we're still in the beginning of the Switch era. We're like a year in, not even a year, and we're like, what, 9 months in? So there's still a lot more to look forward to. And yeah, guys, thank you all for watching today's video. Let me know what you guys are excited for in the comment section below and what you would love to see from the Mario series. Thank you all for watching. You guys are the best. And of course, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.